Be prepared for 5 post-credit scenes at the end of this one. Let's get started. Hello Fanatics, I'm Dylan Phillips, and this is the Film Fanatic Review bringing you Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 with Chris Pratt, Zoe Saldana, and Dave Bautista. First, we'll tell you our initial thoughts and what the movie is about. Then we'll move on to our spoiler-free likes and dislikes. We'll finish up with some spoiler-heavy thoughts on this film, and our final word. Overall, I was very pleased with this film. What made Guardians of the Galaxy so good was its ability to mix its comedy and action, but Volume 2 takes it one step further. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 follows the team's continuing adventures as they unravel the mystery of Peter Quill's true parentage. For what I liked about this film, I loved what they did with most of the characters. The original 5 Guardians have all their own mini-stories going on during the main plot of this film. However, I'll explain these more in the spoiler section. Standouts to me in this film were Peter Quill, Drax, Baby Groot, and Yondu of all people. Oh, and also Sylvester Stallone's in this movie, and he does great in his role. And on top of all that, James Gunn's brother, who plays Yondu's right-hand man, he was very entertaining. The story of this film was filled with a lot of comedy similar to the previous film, while it upped the amount of action, and on top of it, there were a lot of emotional moments added in that definitely worked. Between these 2 Guardians movies and the Thor trailer, the cosmic universe in the Marvel Cinematic Universe is looking pretty damn cool, and I can't wait to see what else they bring into it. Also, James Gunn knows how to pick a soundtrack, because he's 2 for 2. And the last thing I liked? Kurt Russell. Finally, another villain other than Loki or Winter Soldier. The portrayal of Ego by Kurt Russell was phenomenal in this film, and he was a great addition to the Guardians universe. As for what I disliked, I found that the Sovereign were a bit overused in this film and were a bit meh as a bad guy. And I wasn't particularly invested in either Nebula or Mantis, although Nebula does give us a lot of insight into the man, the myth, the legend Thanos, who we haven't really heard much about other than that he's just a bad guy. So to actually hear what he has done definitely ups the stakes for the future films. And that's where I'll end our spoiler-free thoughts on this film. If you want to hear our final word or rating of this film, pause now and click the link in the description, because now it's time for spoilers. First off, I can't believe they actually called Rocket Raccoon a trash panda. I almost keeled over in my seat in laughter. Now I'm going to explain the mini-stories that each of the main characters go through. However, only really 3 of them do, as Baby Groot and Drax don't really have a huge storyline on their own. So in this movie, we know what Peter Quill's storyline is, because it's him finding out who his father is and exploring that lineage. However, the other 2 characters, you don't really know until you go into it. So Gamora's storyline in this is really her battle with her sister Nebula, and that kind of thing that they've always had between them, this rivalry where Nebula feels like she's always been the lesser of the 2 and always wanted a sister but never really got that from Gamora. But you really see the depth of both of these characters in this storyline, which was really nice to see, and it gives them both something to do in this movie. However, the bigger storyline to me was Rocket Raccoon's, because he's the one that really starts everything in this film, especially with the Sovereign and stealing the batteries, and especially with him being compared to Yondu, and Yondu seeing himself in Rocket because he pushes everyone away because he feels like he's scared to open up and stuff. And that really is a deep and emotional storyline and arc for that character that we didn't really see in the first one. We saw more of just like the jokey Rocket Raccoon, and in this one we do get that deeper level. So to do that with a CGI character is phenomenal. However, to me, the best storyline in this movie was definitely Yondu. Michael Rooker knew how to play this character to a T, and my god, I would pay to go and see a Netflix series, a feature film that deals with Yondu's adventures. Heck, if they did a Marvel one-shot for the DVD of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, I would pay extra just to get that DVD, because that character has so much depth and dynamicism, and you learn so much about him in this movie. Oh my god, just it was phenomenal, and I didn't expect to like Yondu as much as I did going into this movie, and he's probably the best part of this film. I try to explain all the post-credit sequences, but I'm not very well versed in the lore of the Marvel comic universe. I'm more in the cinematic universe. However, the biggest post-credit scene in it is definitely the last one, where a big fan theory was revealed to be true, and that is that Stan Lee plays one of the Watchers in the cinematic universe, and that is that he is a character that is all-seeing and omnipotent, and he can go around, and that's why we see him everywhere in each movie. He's playing the same character, just in different professions, being in the lives of all these characters. I found that the Sovereign worked as a great side mission for the beginning of this movie. However, they were definitely overused throughout the film, because it seemed like as there wasn't enough action at some points, the writers just kind of went, we need more action, bring on the Sovereign. And Karen Gillan, you don't need to grit your teeth and scream every line. We understand you're hurt and you're broken, but that doesn't mean that you have to scream everything. You can show it in facial expressions and movements and mannerisms, not in yelling everything. I could go on about this film, so I'm just going to stop now and talk about the parts of the film that I loved. First off, basically every scene with Baby Groot is so adorable and hilarious. However, the two that I love in this film are the beginning sequence where he's dancing around to the music while they're fighting the baddie at the beginning, and then also the part where Yondu and Rocket are trying to get Baby Groot to find Yondu's fin in his captain's quarters, and he keeps coming back with random stuff. Both of those scenes were absolutely hilarious. Drax's dry humor in this movie is absolutely hilarious, and I can't believe he got away with a penis joke. Yondu's line of, he may be your father, but he ain't your daddy, is only a line that Michael Rooker could have pulled off. But my two favorite scenes in this film are definitely ones that deal with Peter Quill. The first one is the very emotional scene at the end, which is probably one of the most emotional endings we've had to a Marvel film, and that's when Peter Quill is having to say goodbye to his father, Yondu. And at that point, you can't help but tear up a little bit when you see everyone just standing there and all you see is the tears streaming down Peter Quill's face. The raw emotion of this film and what is brought there in that particular scene, my God, it's unbelievable, and I didn't expect to be so moved by the end of this movie. So that was a shocker. The second scene that I found I thoroughly enjoyed was the part where you get the main character getting his motivation to fight back against the villain. And it's when Peter Quill learns that Ego planted the tumor in Star-Lord's mom's head that killed her. And just the absolute rage that you see in Chris Pratt's eyes when he goes to fight Ego there. That motivation that comes, and then the fight after that, the pure passion in it. That blew me away. It's what I love about movies. So, with the thoughts heard, here's our final word. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 is a fun, action-packed sequel that brings even more of what made the first one work. While some of the story elements and characters aren't fleshed out entirely, what we got is proof that James Gunn caught lightning in a bottle twice. This film was fun, entertaining, and emotional, which every great summer blockbuster should be. So, I'm going to give Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 an 8.5. Thanks everybody for watching our review. Are you planning on seeing Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2? Or if you've already seen it, do you have something to add? What did you think of this film in comparison to the first? Let us know in the comments below. I'm Dylan Phillips, and this has been the Film Fanatic Review. If you liked this video and you want to see more, hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. Check out our latest Fanatic 5 video where we discuss the top Bill Paxton roles. Don't forget to follow us on our social media. We post new videos every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. Until next time, Fanatics, keep it real.